morning, students. It's
Whitecaps Wednesday! And welcome to another segment of Who's Hiring. Again, I'm Dr. Latoya Mills. I am the coordinator for the Student Success and Career Readiness Center here at Galveston College. And welcome to another segment.
Yes, good morning. And I'm Sharon Pagan. I'm a career navigator, and I am situated over at the Applied Technical Center at 7626 Broadway, but available to all. So I've got the privilege this morning of starting with our first job that we'd like to feature. And I went on the UTMB website and was thrilled when I found this, because this is a position for a vocational nurse, a licensed vocational nurse. The requisite ID is 70974. It's in Galveston. And the thing that I'm thrilled to offer is that no experience is required, because we know our students tell us that frequently that is a hurdle for them when they're trying to get on with an organization like the medical branch. The salary range is $38,560 to $57,840, kind of commensurate with experience. The description says that the LVNs will be providing direct nursing care to an assigned group of patients and perform nursing procedures within the scope of their education and abilities. And in addition to general clinic support, the LVNs will also be asked to assist in the preparation and gathering of clinic data for reporting purposes, including assisting with workers' compensation claims. Okay, Dr. Mills,
Yes,
what do you have?
Yes, thank you, Sharon. So keeping with the tradition, me and Sharon will share about 4 jobs. We do have some bonuses for you today, so stay tuned for those bonuses that we have. But the first one I have this morning is going to be a telecommunicator. I thought this was a really good job and something that people normally don't hear about or don't learn about. And this is with the city of Galveston. Hopefully you can see that. We'll put that up a little. And so let's talk about this position. Again, this is a telecommunicator, and this person is responsible for coordinating police, fire, emergency medical services. So if you know those 911 callers, this would be equivalent to that. The hours vary, the schedule varies. It is a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week position, and so you would rotate with your other coworkers between those hours. This is a full-time position, and they're offering anywhere from $35,000 to $53,000 a year. And get this, this is a position offered to individuals with just a high school diploma. But what we're looking for, so the Galveston College, we want to send our students over. We think this will be good for our students who have just graduated with their general studies degrees or their business degrees, a student that is highly professional and that can communicate well and is very articulate, someone who's very responsible, because in the world we live in today, we know that this is a very responsible role. This is considered an essential worker role. And so the requirements are a high school diploma, and so you would be more than qualified if you have your associate's degree. You must possess a Texas driver's license, and you must pass the pre-physical drug and alcohol screen, as well as criminal background check, and you will be given a critical call 911 public safety call tracker computerized test. And I'm sure that's something that you can learn about as you apply for this position. So again, this is a position for a telecommunicator, making anywhere from $35,000 to $53,000 a year. And all you have to do to access this position is go to galvestontexas.gov. Again, that's galvestontexas.gov. Hit the employment link and look for the telecommunicator position in bold. I'm looking at that page now, and it's on the second page of the employment descriptions. So galvestontexas.gov, and hit the employment link so that you can apply if you're one of our professional students out there for this great opportunity. So that's my first one. Sharon, what else do you have for us?
And I'm so glad you mentioned that, because I forgot to tell the students, the LVNs that are interested in this position, If you go to www.utmb.jobs, you will find this position. I gave you the requisite number, but forgot to tell you the website, so excuse me on that one. The next job I have is for our culinary students, culinary arts students. It's with Aramark. It is in Angleton at the South Texas Nuclear Plant. They are looking for a food service worker. To apply, you go to www.aramark.com/careers. So let me tell you a little bit about what I learned about this position. It was just posted 7 days ago. It's a full-time position, and the food service worker would be responsible for preparing and or building food items while providing customer service and adhering to food safety, food handling, and sanitation procedures. Essential functions will include preparing and building food items according to recipes and directions, properly storing food by adhering to food safety policies and procedures, setting up workstations, including prep tables, service counters, hot wells, steam tables, etc., and breaking down, cleaning, and sanitizing those workstations. Also, ensuring guest satisfaction for the customers you're serving, and having that excellent customer service rapport with the people that are coming in to get lunches or dinners. Qualifications: food service experience is preferred, and you must be able to obtain a food safety certification. You've got to be able to show them that you've got the strong customer service skills. And finally, it does require occasional lifting, carrying, pushing up to 25 pounds. So that's my second. Dr. Mills, your turn.
All right, so my second position, I know we have a lot of nursing students out there. I'm always excited to work with our nursing students who just graduated. Some of you just passed your NCLEX, so congratulations to you. This is a position for you. I know it's oftentimes hard for our new nurses to find positions that require no experience and that are entry level, and so I dug this position up for you. And this is for that novice nurse, that new graduate, and it's right here in our on our hometown ground. This is a nurse clinician 1 in the NICU at UTMB. You can access this position at utmb.jobs. utmb.jobs. The NICU is looking for a new nurse with no experience. You do have to have your RN, and you have to have your current license or permit to work in the state of Texas. They're looking for a novice clinician, entry-level professional nurse who is precepted, guided, and has been mentored. So your mentoring would be considered your clinical hours that you have recently done. Those are your mentoring hours in the NICU, which I don't know what happened to our lights, but hopefully you can still see it. You can still see us. And so for my new nurses, this would be a starting salary nurse position job that was posted recently. What I'm always telling my nurses is wherever you can go, however you can get your foot in the door and begin to work on that experience, that's what you want to do. So this is a great opportunity, whether you want to stay in the NICU or whether that's your ideal position is to work in neonatal. This would be a great opportunity for our new nurses who have just graduated, have passed the NCLEX. Again, you access this job at utmb.jobs. And it's out there waiting for you. This is a great one for our new nurses. And I think that is going to wrap up what we have for our jobs. However, I do have a couple bonuses. We missed last week, so I kind of wanted to double up a little bit. I'm not going to go into this in full, but I wanted you to know that Target is also now hiring guest advocate associates. And so The Target here in Galveston on 6128 Broadway, they're looking for a guest advocate associate. If you're one of our students, you live in Dickinson, the Target off Gulf Freeway is hiring guest advocate associates, as well as the Target off of Marina Bay and Clear Lake Shores. They are also hiring guest advocate associates. So Target is now hiring guest advocate associates for the summer, and I did have their starting pay is between $12 and $14 an hour. And so you can go to the Target website, jobs.target.com. jobs.target.com and fill out. They don't take paper applications. And let me say that about all the jobs that we've mentioned today, that I'm not sure, Sharon, if any of yours, but none of the jobs that I've mentioned take paper applications.
Correct.
That's why I'm giving you these websites so that you can refer back to and make sure that you're going on their websites to fill out these applications and inquire about more information if you have more information. So it's important to remember that everything's going virtual, everything's going online, and so you will have to fill out these applications. And my last thing that I want to mention is if there are any culinary students out there, culinary students, culinary world, culinary. If you have your certifications, your degrees, your experience in culinary, I need you to contact me. I do have a position, and I'm not going to go into it here, but it is an out-of-state position at Mountain Lake Lodge. And Mountain Lake Lodge is the Mary Moody Northern Endowment's resort lodge. They're looking for a culinary student of Galveston College to work in their kitchen, work for their culinary department. This is an awesome resort, so you will get resort experience, and it's in Blacksburg, Virginia. So that's the key, is that you have to be willing to relocate. It is in Blacksburg, Virginia, and if you're interested in this position, please contact me at lmills@gc.edu. lmills@gc.edu. If you're a culinary student out there, you're willing to relocate, you want some resort experience, lmills@gc.edu, and I can contact you or connect you to who you need to begin that job opportunity. So that concludes our jobs for today. And we do have our career tip coming up. So this is what we did for career tip today. Me and Sharon were talking about, this virtual world that we're going into, and everything's going online. And Ms. Pagan was telling me about a conversation that she had with a local colleague. And this is how I'm going to let her finish it, but this conversation led to our career tip, and so we're kind of going to tag team on this career tip, but I think it's very, very relevant to what's happening in today's world, and some conversations that I was having with some friends about how do you facilitate virtual interviews. So you want to share with them what the conversation you were having with your colleague?
Absolutely. And I think I mentioned this when we did Who's Hiring a couple of weeks ago, that I was talking with Rachel Smathers with Express Professional Services, and she was telling me even before COVID-19 became such a tragedy for our country, employment services were already moving to online interviewing. And so I'm going to talk about today how to set up an appropriate background behind you for online interviewing. And then Dr. Mills is going to talk about how to appropriately dress for an online interview.
Yes.
And so I want to begin by saying, when I'm in my study at my house, my wall probably is similar to this. It's just monochromatic. There's two doors in the background of my computer, in the direction my computer's facing. And so it's just kind of a cream ivory color. But if you've got shelving units in your study area or where you're going to do your virtual interviews, that's what I wanted to talk with you about today, is how to put together an attractive arrangement that's going to give you an opportunity to share a little bit about your personality and really set up a professional looking office. And so the first thing that I encourage you to do, I was reading an article in the Houston Chronicle, is they said just take everything off of your shelves for your first step and kind of make decisions about what are you going to use, what are you not going to use, and shop in your own house. Go into some other rooms and see if there are some items you'd like to pull from other rooms to accessorize with. And when I put this one together for you, it is a unit that reflects a lot of personality and interest. You can see they've got musical instruments hanging on the walls, a painting or a photograph or framed photograph of fishing. So that again shows you that they love to fish kind of during their leisure time. There's a football over here that again suggests their enthusiasm for sports. And so this is one possibility to go with. And what you'll notice about this photograph and the other one I'm going to show you is they've placed their books horizontally or flat and vertically or upright. And then they're held with nice bookends or heavier objects. And if you lay some of your larger books flat, then you'll notice that they've accessorized and put something on top of the stacks of books. So this is one idea. Another idea that I brought for you, if you kind of want to do something that's more monochromatic or one color, is I thought this was very novel, to turn your books so the spines are facing the backs of the bookcases, and you're just seeing the ivory color or white colored pages of the books that kind of maintain a very good looking professional monochromatic presence for your office study. So those are just some ideas for getting ready for how to set up your room for virtual interviews, and Dr. Mills is going to talk about how to dress.
I like that, Sharon. Personally, for me, I use a bookshelf as well when I'm doing interviews, and so I have a bookshelf behind me, and I also try whatever company that I'm interviewing for, I try to find something of their logo. So whether it's like a mug or a cup or like, a folder, I'm in education, so folders or
That's a great
whatever
idea.
you can find something of their logo. I try to use colors that are going with the company or institution that I'm interviewing for. So that's another tip too.
Yeah, that's
right?
great preparation
Yes.
when you're doing that kind of research.
But your background is very important. It's very, very important. Never underestimate it. People are literally looking at your background and learning more about you. And that's what interviews are for, is to learn about the person. And so equally to your background, it is very important that you dress well. So dressing for an interview via Zoom, what else we have? Skype interviews, groups, meetings, teams, whatever platform you're using to interview is equally important. And so I did pull up some tips we have our dressforsuccess.org. And one thing is that they talk about is dress the part. So just as you would dress for going into the office, you want to dress the same way, but you don't have to always worry about your bottoms. That's true. Unless you're kind of sitting in a way where your pants are showing, but most of the time we can only see ourselves from waist up. But from waist up, you should still be in interview attire, depending on your industry. So most industries, that does include your blazer, your strong collared shirts. Making sure there's not too many patterns is very important, because we don't want it to distract from what's coming out of your mouth. We never want our outfits, to distract from the words that we're saying and what we're really wanting the interviewer to understand about who we are. So making sure that you're still professional in your dark blues, your blacks, your whites, You know, our ladies, your power colors are reds, so that would be a great color. The same way as I want a logo, I always try to dress with the colors of my institution. So for Galveston College, our colors are blue and burnt orange. I would choose something like a blue top, you know, a royal blue top would be nice, and a black blazer would also be nice as well. But we don't want you to be looking like you just got out of bed, like your bed is 2 feet away and you actually look like you just came from 2 feet away. Prepare yourself for the day. Make sure your hygiene is still great, because what we know is when we look good, we feel good, and we're also more confident. So even though you're the only one that can smell yourself and we can't smell you through the screen, that still resonates in your personality, in how you're talking, how you're speaking. So make sure all those same things that you would do to go to an office, make sure you're still doing those things when you're preparing for your online interview. Your makeup is nice and neutral. Your hair is well put together. We want to make sure we've done that, and that you're presenting the most professional person that you can from camera to camera. And so we know that may require a little bit more, and you may have to get up, you know, ahead of time still for your Zoom interview to prepare yourself, but those are the necessary things that you want to do. So you have to make sure that your background is looking nice, and you have to make sure that you're presenting yourself well for your virtual interview, and from the waist up, you still look professional, and that you still have clothing that you would have worn if you would have went inside the office itself. Does that make sense, Sharon?
It does. And you know what I read, Dr. Mills, when we were preparing for today, that I thought was interesting, and I think this is what you're conveying. If you dress nicely, that's a way of conveying respect for the company.
Yes.
And so that is the other thing that we want you to emulate. Is that you do have respect for the organization, and are grateful for the opportunity to meet with them and make your case that you are the strongest candidate.
And oftentimes your virtual interviews are replacing, especially nowadays, are replacing your phone interviews. So some companies, you have a phone interview, then you have a face-to-face interview. And so your virtual interview is that thing that's going to get you the next step in the door, and that's the way you want to see it. Some other things that I wanted to mention about Zoom interviews is your enthusiasm. You want to make sure that you're enthusiastic. I know when we're in our own homes, it's kind of hard to get into this interview mood, but you have to make sure that you're setting the tone for yourself. So one thing that I do is, if I'm having a virtual interview, I go into my environment. My environment is probably set up the night before, because I'm so anxious about this interview I'm going to have the next day. So my environment is set up the night before. I'm dressed in the morning, but I'm sitting in my interview environment 30 minutes before the interview starts. And what I'm doing is going over my notes, my questions, preparing myself. I'm practicing. I've probably already asked a family member, how do I look? And I've probably already practiced with a family member from FaceTime to FaceTime of what you can see in my background, what you can see from me. So those are some other tips that I would lend to you to prepare for your virtual interviews as well. Because this is going to be our new normal. This will be the way that our society is going, and virtual interviews, I don't think they're going to go anywhere. They save companies a lot of money, a lot of time. And not only that, companies can now see you and not just hear you, versus the standard phone interview. So do you think this is going anywhere anytime soon?
This is what Ms. Mathers told me was the direction that employment agencies were hiring before COVID occurred.
Okay.
So I think it is. And Dr. Mills, I think you're exactly right. I was reading about how critical it is to make sure you are on time.
Yes.
And so I think that's a fantastic suggestion, to be sitting in that seat before, and that's the best way to convey respect.
Yes.
Is to make sure you're on time.
Yeah. Well, awesome job, Ms. Pagan, today.
We always enjoy being together, and and being with you. And then Dr. Mills, you'll be posting these on
Yes. We will be posting these on the student job board. If you want to go directly, immediately hear the jobs, just rewind your live. This will be going live on our Facebook page, our social media page. So if you need that website immediately for the jobs we mentioned today. So we talked about the air mark. We talked about the air mark position in Angleton. We have UTMB for our LVNs, but we also have a UTMB for our RNs. And then we have a telecommunicator with the city of Galveston for our business students, general studies students, those students who don't have a tech degree, but this would be a great job for them. And so Who's Hiring is a segment that we're doing on Whitecaps Wednesday. We're trying to do every other Whitecaps Wednesday. So thank you for joining us live today for our second Who's Hiring segment. Yay!
Yes.
Our second Who's Hiring segment, and we hope to see you not next Wednesday, but the Wednesday after for another Who's Hiring.